Welcome to my loft, everybody, on this February 11th, 2026. I'm Rusty Blackwood, and I welcome you to my Valentine's Day video, as well as my salute to New York Fashion Week. And I am here to model this stunning gown for you and to have a little visit and a little catch up, because as you always know, it's always quite some time in between videos that I have been doing. This is the way it goes when you're writing a new book. You have to really watch your time between your promotion events that you do like this and all the different events that I do through having reviews done and through taking part in book club features. Anything to, shine a light on my work and, of course, shine a light on me as its author. And so, without further ado, I'm going to model this lovely gown for you all. It is a stunning, form-fitting, very snug, floor-length gown. My salute to New York Fashion Week and the Statue of Liberty. May she always stand tall and perfectly welcoming everyone into New York Harbor. Fashion Week is a lovely time to take part in the celebration of fashion, whether it be very elegant or whether it be extremely simple. I missed Haute Couture Week, which was back at the end of January, but I wasn't feeling well, so therefore I did not have the energy to stand here and model and walk my supposed runway here that I have, which is extremely limited, and wearing extremely high stilettos. I am 5'1" myself, and these stilettos are 4 inches. And so walking on them can be a little bit iffy and a little bit difficult at times. I am also wearing elbow length silver satin gloves to match the dress, match the gown. And I hope, as you can see, it has just an open back. It's not dropped or anything. It's just a normal squared off back with spaghetti straps. And please ignore the telephone. The machine will pick it up. When you do videos in the middle of the business day, it is incredible the amount of noise and interruptions that can happen. But I just take it in stride. They can leave a message, which they didn't do, whoever it was. Very skimming. These are the types of gowns when you wear them, you're glad that you didn't take that extra dessert or that extra piece of candy, because it shows. I'm going to bring you over to my set, and we'll talk a little bit about, get caught up with each other. First, I think I will shut off this light because it's fairly harsh. I just use it to light up my little runway that I have. And so, oh my goodness, it feels good to sit down. When you wear stilettos like this, the length of these heels, it can become tiresome because you have to balance yourself. You don't only walk, but you have to balance yourself as you do, and it gets very, very tedious and very tiring. And so I'm just going to loosen them off my feet a little bit. And so I've earned my drink of probably cold coffee by now. So I want to wish each one of you a very sweet and loving Valentine's Day to spend with your main squeeze or someone very, very special to you. I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day 2026. So cheers, everyone. And yes, it's cold. But it's like having an iced coffee in some ways. So, it's been a while since I've been back to do a video. Time has a way of fleeting like you wouldn't believe. You have every intention in getting back to do a video relatively soon from the last one that you did. I mean, I don't do a daily podcast. It would be, I don't think I could do a daily podcast. And I'm in the act of writing my prequel to my Autumn series here, titled Before the Grandeur, The Making of a Horsemaster, which is about 3/4 of the way done. And I'm hoping to have that ready and released in late spring. It will probably be in June by the time it comes out. And it centers around Cyril Landon, whom you meet in the Perils of Autumn. He is the owner and horsemaster of Landon Lawns Stables in Landon Manor. And Before the Grandeur centers on Cyril from his birth to the time that you meet him in the Perils of Autumn, and talks about how he became a horsemaster and being born into an extreme poverty-ridden life just prior to World War II, or I should say World War One. He is born just prior to World War One, and brings you up through World War II and to primarily around 1970, and where the Autumn series, The Perils of Autumn, begins. And I have been having a really, really pleasurable time writing Before the Grandeur and celebrating dear Cyril, whom I have great admiration and affection for. If he were an actual man, I think I would be head over heels in love with him. I don't think I could have designed or created a better mate than Cyril. If Cyril was to exist in actuality. He is, he's everything I like in a man. And he has a tremendous affection and passion and love for horses, as do I. Any breed. I just adore them. I always have. I find them, they're such an intelligent animal. You will not find a more loyal friend. They would go through hell or high water for you. And they're just, I think, one of God's most loveliest of his creations. And I very much enjoyed writing about them. You will, through in the Autumn series, I mean, you will attend a Kentucky Derby, and you will have front row seats to a lot of different happenings that go on throughout the series around horses. But it tells a very, very lovely story, and it's got its moments, that's for sure. It's different than Passions in Passions. Revelations, this is a very graphic novel. You're going to find some very, very steamy scenes in this book, but you will fall in love with this couple and the love story that is revealed throughout the pages of this novel. So I hope you take advantage of the giveaway this weekend and pick yourself up a copy. And so, it's been we've had such a difficult, hard winter here in Niagara. Excuse me, I'm just trying to get myself situated here, and getting things even and comfortable. And as I say, we've had a very, very difficult, hard winter everywhere, not just here in Niagara, but clear across Canada. It's been a very, very old-fashioned winter, like it was when I grew up in southwestern Ontario on my grandfather's farm, down by the Thames River in Elgin County, and that separates Elgin County from Middlesex County. I grew up right across the river from the Munsee Indian Reservation, which is Cippawa, and I can remember such different events and different times that went on there, and their yearly rituals of some of the things that they did, and it really was an experience. I was very fortunate to have had that opportunity and to have witnessed, and what I did. My father rented land from both the Munsee reservation and the Oneida, which bordered with the Munsee reservation, and so I would go with my dad sometimes when he would be going over there for whatever reason, and I can remember being with him one time when he was doing business with, as Daddy told me, one of the very last pure 100% blooded Indian, Chippewa. His name was Joe Henry, and he could not speak English. He only spoke Chippewa, and so he had to have an interpreter. One of his grandsons did the interpreting for his grandfather, with my dad doing business back and forth, and because Dad was going to be renting Mr. Henry's land. I don't know how many acres, but that's what he was going to be doing. And And I can remember this man. Of course, I was a very little girl at that time, and so, but I can remember looking up, and he just seemed to go on forever. He was so tall, and of course he wore his braids. He had very long braids, and they were very, very gray, but strikingly blue eyes, steel blue eyes, and most Indians have either deep, deep brown or black eyes. And Mr. Henry's eyes were blue, and I can remember that. And they just seemed to penetrate you when he looked at you. His eyes just held you right there in his stance. It was like he just penetrated you, and tremendously high cheekbones, and his skin looked like it was a lovely tone of brownish red, and it looked like very weathered but supple leather, and he wore beads in his braids. There was beads woven into his braids, and I don't recall feathers or anything like that, but I do recall some beads. Nothing colorful, just like black and sort of a deep um, mustard yellow. And oh my, I've never forgotten that. He was striking. I don't want to say handsome, but very, very almost majestic, for sure. Um, he was a very, very, very elderly man. He must have been close to 100 years old. He may have even been more than that. I don't know. But I remember my dad telling me to take a look, because um, let it sink in, because this Mr. Henry was one of the last pure-blooded Chippewa Indians around. And I don't know if there were others that lived with the Chippewa band. I don't know, but I just remembered meeting Joe Henry, and I'm telling you, I don't know what his Indian name was, but everybody that would do business with him always called him Joe Henry. So Joe Henry he was. I think it's fantastic. Memories are golden. Um, as long as memories can last and stay with you, you have the world by the tail, because of everything you do in life, from day to day, especially things that really impact you. They are collected and stored in your memory, and that's where they continue to live. And when you recall them, it is just like it was when it was happening. I mean, you very rarely would anybody, I know myself, I can only go by my own um, life and experiences of what's happened to me, and how different things affected me. And of course, the more intent um, the happening, the intensity of it, or the abruptness of it, or the like bang impact of it, are the things that you remember the most. Beautiful things, weddings, people that you love, probably boyfriends that were really special for whatever reason. And definitely, as a woman who is a mother and a grandmother and a great-grandmother, those people. Um, and different happenings in your life, different events that have happened, places you've gone, things that have happened to you during those periods of time, and or remembering things as a child that really impacted you. I can remember my paternal grandfather as if it were yesterday. Grandpa Beecroft was 87 when he passed away, and I've spoken about him in prior videos. He was extremely special to me. I spent a lot of time with him. He passed away when I was 10 years old, but I have great memories of Grandpa, and very gentle. As I say, if you watch the Waltons and see Grandpa Walton, you are seeing my Grandpa Beecroft, because he was very, very much like Grandpa Walton, in so many ways. Overalls, flannel checkered shirts, blue jean jackets, caps that, as I say, my grandpa could toss his poor boy cap clear across the kitchen, and it would always land right on the designated peg on the wall for his hat. Never failed. And so my maternal grandfather was much younger, although he was still an elderly man throughout my childhood. But he was born in the late, like 1898 or 99, something like that, where Grandpa Beecroft was born in 1871. So there's a big, big difference there. And Grandpa Weber, my maternal grandfather, he lived to be in his late 80s. But Grandpa Weber was a different personality altogether than my Grandpa Beecroft. They were both farmers, and they both worked hard, extremely hard. But their personalities and their dispositions were entirely different. And of course, because I lived with Grandpa Beecroft, my dad took us back to Grandpa's farm, because Dad was going to be taking the farm over for his father, because Grandpa could no longer do it alone. And so he took us back from St. Thomas back to Grandpa's farm when I was 4 years old. And so I grew up there. And of course I was with Grandpa every day, whereas with my Grandpa Weber, I only saw him maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks or something like that. So I did not have the relationship with him the same as I had with Grandpa Beecroft. Although I had a very, very good relationship with my maternal grandmother, Grandma Weber. She was a lovely lady, and my mother was very much like, in ways, like her mother, but my mother's personality and disposition was more like her father. And so I guess she was about half and half of both, and which I think we all are. We are half and half of our parents, and so great memories though. I have so many. My Grandma Weber was a telephone switchboard operator back in the days when you had to ring. In the country, and even in the cities, you had to ring the switchboard operator to get your call put through to whomever it was you wanted to talk to. Excuse me here, I have something more to drink. And I remember the switchboard office was right in Grandma and Grandpa's house, and they had moved there. Grandpa was retired from farming at that time, and they moved there to this house to take over the switchboard operator for Wallacestown Exchange, and Grandma ran the switchboard, and and I just remember I write a story based on that in my children's book, Through the Eyes of Innocence, um, called The People Inside the Telephone Box. And based on a story that was kind of a farce. My two youngest aunts, my mother's two youngest sisters, were still at home at that time. And and because I was little and I was naive and couldn't figure a lot of things out myself, um, um, spoke to me to believe that there was the people that were talking on the telephone lines after the lines were connected onto the switchboard. Were trying to tell me when they put the headphones on my head that the people, the voices I was hearing were inside the box, inside the big telephone box, the switchboard. And I was so naive, I believed them. And it really started to bother me because I remember saying, well, when can they get out of there? And of course, my youngest aunt told me, well, they can't. They got to stay in there forever. Then, next question out of an innocent kid, like, well, how can they eat? And being told, well, they can't. And this festers in my mind that there's these people trapped in this box, and they can't eat, they can't get out. Like somebody doesn't help them, they're going to die. And every time we would oftentimes visit Grandma on Sunday, and I would watch her, and she would be working the switchboard. And an important part I left out, I must put in of this story, was that I wanted, because of the holes that pulled the plugs to push into the switchboard to connect and click the switches to connect the call, that if you touched them, you could get a shock. If your fingers were wet or whatever, and touch those holes where the plugs went in, you could get a shock, or if there was a thunderstorm happening or something. And I don't know if these switchboards were grounded or not. I assume they probably were, but I don't know. And because these are a very, very long time ago that they were used, and so and I was, as an inquisitive child, trying to put my finger in the holes and things like that, and my aunt had said, don't touch that. If she had just told me not to touch it, it could get a bit of a shock or something, everything would have been fine. But no, it didn't do that. It just said, don't touch that, just snapped at me, and I had said why, and told me this ridiculous farce that I'll get sucked right in the hole, and I'll have to live with all those people inside there. And that's where it led to put the headphones on me so that I could hear the people talking and telling me that those people were inside that box. And I believed this, and they were getting quite a cackle out of that. And so this weighed on my mind whenever, for 2 or 3 weeks after, when we visited Grandma. And this one time, Grandma went to put her hand on, dust off something or whatever, and there was a thunderstorm coming, and she was talking about the thunder and things like that, and she went to touch the switchboard, and I said, Grandma, don't touch that, you'll get sucked right in there. And of course she looked at me like, like I was three bricks short of a load, and she said, what are you talking about? So I proceeded to explain what my aunt had told me, and she said, nonsense, she said, that's not true. So she proceeded to tell me why I shouldn't touch those holes. And so I guess my aunts, especially my youngest one, got told, about what she did, like scaring the tar out of me. And I never forgot that. So when I was writing stories for my children's collection, that was one that I wrote about and called it The People Inside the Telephone Box. So if you're looking for a nice collection of children's stories for your own children, go to my website, rusty-blackwood.com, and check out my children's collection called Through the Eyes of Innocence. It's available on Amazon. And I think your especially your little girl, I think if you have a little girl, would be very, very interested in finding all about the telephone box. And of course, when I don't only write like the part of it where I'm getting told this, this whopper, but I explain how the telephone switchboard worked and things like that. So it's very educational on what you learn. And so that might be something worthwhile checking out. And so I'm going to go for today. I hope you have enjoyed my model today. My dress and my shoes and my gloves are from Shein, as most of my media wardrobe is. And I kind of sometimes feel I should be an ambassador for Shein, because most of my media collection is from Shein. And so, again, I wish you a very, very happy Valentine's Day coming up on Saturday. Do enjoy yourself, and even if you're just by yourself, have yourself a little piece of chocolate. Chocolate always seems to make you feel good, regardless of whether it's cloudy, whether it's sunny or whatever. It's nicer when it's sunny. It doesn't matter how cold it is, as long as the sun shines. But that's not the point today. That's not what's happening today. And so, I wish each one of you God's blessings today, and I ask you to please check out my work, my Autumn series. All of my work is available on Amazon, and I ask you to please like this video. Please comment it if you would, and please share it about on your media, and please subscribe to my channel and help me get my numbers up. And so I thank all of you who have, and I welcome all of you in advance who will. As my little great-grandsons and I have been saying for some time now, peace and love be with each of you. Take care, everybody, until I see you again.